They're going to throw anywhere between 35 and 40 touchdown passes and 45 touchdown passes in the season. Peyton Manning threw 55 last year. So just think of it if you're a coach. So if you're on the bus going to the game, whether it's at home or on the road, and if you do those numbers, when you get off the bus, when you walk into the stadium, now the scoreboard's not on, but in your brain you got 14 points. Because they're going to throw 2 touchdown passes a game, so just do the math. If you walk into the stadium, you got 14 already because of who these guys are. And so to me, they're the elite ones. I think the next one coming up, and he's rising pretty fast, is Andrew Luck. I mean, he's going to be in that deal. Now, when you think about Kaepernick, Wilson, Cam Newton, those kind of guys, see, they're not volume passers. And I think sometimes as football fans, you know, we look at these quarterbacks and we go, well, this is an elite guy, that's an elite guy. They're not volume passers. They're not asked to throw the ball over 40 times. And to tell the truth, you don't want them to throw it over 40 times. They play in a system that will allow them to throw it 25 to 30 times. And by the way, Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl. The best offensive captivity last year was the Denver Broncos. They scored 37 points a game. Quarterback threw 55 touchdowns. He scored 8 points. Now, they play because Russell Wilson is asked to play quarterback different than Peyton Manning because he's not Peyton Manning. And I think sometimes as coaches, there's a rule, and I've always lived by this rule. It's called KYP. That means know your personnel. Know the players you have on your team. Now, when you're a fan, sometimes you sit there and you go, well, I want somebody else. There's only 1,800 football players in the whole world, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. There's only 32 starting quarterbacks in the whole world, professional level. And you may want another quarterback, but unless he's over here at this, what is this called?
The convention center.
But what are we doing here? The sports?
The Music City Sports Festival.
Unless he's at the festival somewhere running around here, that's all you got. Okay, so you can sit here as a fan and say, well, that guy's no good. There's only 32 starting ones in the whole world. I'm going to say it again. 32 in the whole world. There's not 33, not 34, only 32. And you can say that guy's a bad player. He's not that bad now. The problem is, you're probably asking the guy to do something he can't do. Just think about your job. Think about what's required at your job. And if your boss came in and told you to do something exactly opposite, would you have success? You probably wouldn't. You'd probably sit there and look at your boss and go, why are you making me do this? I can't do this. That happens in football. That happens in sports. So when you get behind in a football game, and the quarterback, who's not a volume thrower, he has to throw 40 times, guess what? You're going to lose. Because that's not his skill set. That's not his strength. See, your job as a coach is real simple. You play to the player's strength. And you don't ask him to do things he can't do. And every team has players that do certain things. And when you ask them to get out of their comfort zone, they're going to fail. Your job as a coach is don't allow the player to fail. They're all good players. They're not bad players. I've never seen a coach or a player. It's like you going to work. You don't show up to work to fail. Coaches and players practice all week. They don't practice plays that are no good. Trust me. They're not trying to go out there. I've never called in a play to the guy and said, hey, run this one, it doesn't work. Really? It doesn't work that way. Now, you as a fan, we get emotional, and you have a right to get emotional because you're emotionally invested. And that's what's great about fans. But I promise you, no player or coach is trying to fail. And we criticize. My job is to sit in the studio and talk about players and coaches and say, well, the guy's no good. I'm going, wait a minute. Maybe the guy's no good. Think about how many guys out here played football somewhere in their life. Somewhere you played high school football. Maybe you're good enough to play college football. There's a reason you're not a pro. You weren't good enough. And you can blame it on the coach. You can say, I got married, or I hurt my back. No, you weren't good enough. Stop it. And then we get mad at these guys. It was like, that guy's no good. He's really good. They're good players. But you know what? That's the life we live. I get it. But just be careful. Just be careful. When you look at these guys, they're pretty good. Remember, there's only 1,800 professional football players on the planet. 1,800. So when you look at that guy, you just make sure now, he's no good. But just think about that. 1,800, that's it.
Do they all play to win the game?
Well, I don't know about that. They better. That's part of it. If they keep score, they better.
I guess I'm cynical enough to believe once a coach, always a coach. Do you miss it?
I miss the players. I miss the camaraderie. I miss the coaches. I don't miss the long hours. And there comes a point in your life where I was fortunate. Like I said before, I was in the league for 30 years. That's a long time. As a coach, a player, head coach, position coach, scout. And I think at the end, I've given everything I could give back to football in that way. Now I'm doing it another way. I have a different platform, but I still talk about football. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I've never had a job. I've been on recess my whole life. Think about, kindergarten, the greatest thing about kindergarten is three things, right? Just think about our kindergarten days. Just close your eyes, just remember. It was the graham crackers and the milk and the nap, right? And then it was recess. Well, I've been on recess all my life. I never had a job. I just play football, coach football, go on the grass, have fun, go on television.
Now look back there. Willie's laughing.
Where Willie?
And at some
Oh,
point
there Willie.
this
Yeah,
week,
Willie, no, recess.
at some point this week, he will use that line. He has actually stolen some of your stuff.
You can have it, Willie.
In
It's
a
free.
commercial.
It's recess. So I never had a job. I'm just kind of talking ball,
You're going to use that, aren't you? We've been in recess for 25 years.
Hey.
We're going to take some questions from the audience in just a minute. Marilyn, if you will, let them know you're back there. There she is. She has been a trooper to put up with this for a day and a half, as has been Kelly Benefield to give us the sign language. Show me Herm Edwards. You just finger spell it. Okay.
That's good.
Okay. Tell people before we go into the audience, at ESPN, do they try at all to script you or mold you? Here's what we want you to do. And do they have time limits and you're still going, I'm in recess. We're going to a break.
Well,
how does that work?
First of all, it's a unique place. You guys see it on television. I have an opportunity to work there. We have a wonderful platform. There's 4,000 people on campus. That's the first thing you need to know. So that's kind of how it works. There's 4,000 people on campus. We're actually opening a new studio for SportsCenter and NFL Live. You'll see those on television. I want to say at the end of June, they paid $200 million for it. So wait till you see it on television. But it is a worldwide leader. It's a great place to work. And I can remember when I started working for them, and I go on my first show, and it's like 10 minutes before the show, and I'm sitting up there with Trey Wingo and those guys that are getting ready to do NFL Live. And you got camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4, and all these cameras. And you kind of have a production meeting, and these are the subjects we're going to talk about. And so I get up, I'm going up there, and I'm looking at Trey Wingo, and he's sitting to the right. And I said, Wingo. I said, they're telling me about the camera and all this. He said, Coach. I said, Coach. He said, I'm going to ask you a question. He said, you answer the question. And I said, got it. So now I've been there actually 6 years, believe it or not. I just signed a new deal with them, another 5 years, so you're going to see me for another 5 years, whether you like it or not. And so now it works for me like this now, because I'm kind of one of those guys. When I come on, it's like, Coach. And I say, yep. And you can imagine, I'm sitting in the chair, and the producer's way up there, and you can't see him. And he said, Coach, this is a 2-minute segment. And I go, got it. And if you ever see me do this, like that, what I'm basically telling the producer, when I'm talking, this is going longer than 2 minutes, boys. Just keep the camera running. So when you see me doing that, it's been, he's gonna go for a while now. So when the red light comes on, I just talk. I don't worry about it. You just kind of go out there and talk,
Oh, this is beautiful. You want to take a few out of the audience? Let's do it.
I'm Taylor Burks. I'm the head coach at Hillwood High School. As you know, I'm not a cameraman. I showed you that earlier.
Yeah.
As a head coach, I really appreciate you being here. And I've written down some really good notes, Coach. What's one thing that I could tell that you would tell those players if you were standing in front of them? What's one thing you could tell a high school kid that I could take back to them?
That when the game is not fun anymore, don't play. Don't play. You have to have passion in anything you do in life. Whether your job, whether you play football, coach football, and you have to have fun doing it. And it's hard. Football is hard because you actually practice more than you play. I will say this about my career. I was very fortunate. From high school all the way to pro football, I never missed a practice. I never missed a practice. Because when you practice, that's basically you're autographing your performance because you want to play well. We laugh about, I always say, when the lights come on and you see the people, you smell the popcorn, well, that's when you know the game starts. But really the game starts in practice. It's your preparation. Life is about preparation, believe it or not. And football is no different. Everybody wants to play in the game, and everybody wants to stand on the sideline when the game starts. But it's all that other stuff you got to do before. But you got to have fun. I never had a bad day practicing. I like practice. I said, this is because I want to perform well. And they got to have fun doing what they do. Because when you're doing it for somebody else, if you're doing it for your parents, if you're doing it for whoever, don't do it. Don't do it. Because it shows. You got to want to do this.